Oh my goodness. Hello. Good now. Who's here? Marina. Good now. Caroline. Lonnie. V. Good now, lovelies. Deanna. Good now. Good now. Angela. Good now. Molly. Good now. I love it. Love it. Good now, Kimmy. Robin says, sending serenity to all supportive soul siblings. I love it. Love it. Love it. Good now. Received and reciprocated. Good now, Rita. Good now, Catherine. I'll get it right one of these days. So loud, so loud. I don't know why that part has to be so loud. Just want to get some cool music while we're welcoming folks. Before we get started, Caitlin! Good now, Caitlin. Good now, Carolyn. Good now. Is it Yael? I know you said I said it right the first time. Hopefully I did it again the correct way. Good now, Bree. Good now, Jen. First weekend with me. Good now, all. Awesome. Welcome. Good now, Tanisha. Good now, Sherry. And because we're close to the end of the book, tomorrow we'll be reading chapter 19. Next Sunday will be chapter 20. Good now, Jamie. Will be chapter 20, and I'll let you all decide if you want to go ahead and read chapter 21 next week as well, because that is the end of the book. Let me just see. I'm trying to remember if it's a short chapter or not. Chapter 20. I feel like it might not be, but it depends on how long y'all want to hang out with me. Let's see. Chapter 20. Chapter 20 is Physician, Heal Thyself. And then 21 is, 20 is pretty short. And then 21 is our questions and answers, which is pretty cool. So, but I'll let the group decide next week. But yes, tomorrow will be chapter 19. Today we're reading chapter 18. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Robin, for loving on the new folks. Good now, Debbie. Good to see you as well. Who else has popped in that I've not said good now to just yet? Varsha, good now, love. Let me see if I put tomorrow's up there. I don't know. Yep. So if y'all want to add that to your calendar. Good now, Laura. Have I missed anyone? Good now, of course, to anyone in private mode as well. Good now, Sherry. Good now, Soul. Good now, Poonam. How do I not see y'all's bubbles yet? Good now to you all. So glad you're here. Chapter 18 is relationships. That's what we'll be reading about today. For anyone who is new here, we are reading, as you can see in the right-hand corner, my right. I don't know if it's your left. It's probably your left. Anyway, we're reading the book Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender by Dr. David R. Hawkins. Chapters 1 through 17 are on my channel, YouTube. So if you would like to catch up or re-review, however you want, you can catch it up there. I made a specific playlist with just these readings, so it'll be easier to find. Good now, for just first time here. I have this book, but haven't started it yet. Oh my goodness. Well, you'll be starting at the end today, close to the end, but it's okay. I think a lot of times I do reference back in previous chapters because things it correlates. But yes, if you want to catch the first 17 chapters, or just at your own pace, of course. I don't expect you to try to read them all today and then be ready for chapter 19 tomorrow. This is not school. So, school of life maybe, but there's no test or anything like that. So, but glad you're here, and I'm glad you're here too, Laura. Thank you. Glad you're here. My typical spiel. While I do support people with mental health challenges, I am not a licensed professional, and sometimes the information in the book can maybe trigger something, or it just holds a mirror up to your face, and sometimes facing ourselves is not easy, right? And so if at any point something becomes too much, please do take care of yourself. If you have to step away from the live, do so. You can also share in the chat if you're having a hard time. Trust me, the fam here will just pounce on you with love and support, and just remind you of the truth, because our minds can trick us so easily. Good now, YR. And so that's that part. Sometimes he uses examples that may be a bit dated, so just take it for what it's worth. Take the lesson from it. Understand where he was coming from or what he's trying to communicate. Happy day. Good now, love. Good now, Teapot. I love it. Kathy, good now, love. Hugs, no pouncing. It's like, it's a not a pouncing like a tiger or a lion, trust. But I receive. I will receive that corrected way of expressing our love. But yes, for sure, definitely. We will definitely, you will get support here for sure. Is there anything else I normally say that I may have forgotten from any of my regular folks? Good now, Janie. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Is it storming there? Awesome. I love storms. As long as they aren't knocking out power and flooding, storms are the best. Enjoy the thunder and rain and all of that, Angela. Good, I'm glad. All right, I'm gonna drink some agua and then we'll get started. Good now, Helen. Yum. Thanks, Nicole, for the reading. You're so welcome. For reading, you're so welcome. Poonam says, are we recording? Yes, I may fall asleep. Rightly so, because it's what, like midnight for you, or 11? Yeah, no worries. Yes, it is. It's on the channel, so you can catch up. Yep. Yeah, it's late. I appreciate you doing your best to be here. Good now, BE. All right. Water consumed. And shall we read about relationships from the perspective of letting go? You love rainy weather? I love that, Robin. I feel like we should have a retreat on a rainy day. Just go play out in the rain. In the grass, in the rain. I was gonna step on any earthworms. Good now, Carolyn. Okay. That is as low as it goes, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pause the music. Actually, let me turn the speaker off, because remember, like in the middle of talking, it'll like make that noise because I'll forget to turn it off. And it's so loud. Okay. Gardeners only rest days. That's true. Good now, Verna. The love pounces like a ticker pounce on Pooh Bear. Yes, that is. Did someone say retreat? Yes, Angela. See you in next month. Oh my goodness. Love the cozy atmosphere that rainy days bring. Me too, Poonam. Me too. All right, chapter 18, relationships. Here we go. All right. Because they are so intimately connected with our basic desires for love and security, relationships quickly bring up our innermost feelings. For that reason, they are extremely valuable, no matter whether the relationship is classified as good or bad. In the process of emotional emancipation, everything is equally valuable. It is necessary to remind ourselves that feelings are programs, that is, they are learned responses that often have a purpose. That purpose is directly related to achieving an effect on the other person's feelings and, by doing so, to influence their feelings toward ourselves and to fulfill our own inner goals. You're under the dreamer blanket. I love it. We will look at common emotional reactions and examine what their real purpose is. Emotional reactions have nothing to do with love, for love is a state of oneness with another. Love is not just an emotion that comes and goes. What often passes for love in common human understanding is primarily attachment, dependency, and possessiveness. Negative feelings. As we shall see, all emotions towards others involve the basic belief that we are incomplete within ourselves and, therefore, others are viewed and utilized as a means to an end. Although we may not be able to influence the other person in the way we would like, the utilization of the other person still occurs on the level of fantasy and expectation. We also discover that much of what we experience in a relationship is happening only in our imagination. Let's start first with the most negative emotions. We will discover that their underlying purpose is and the other person's likely response. Um, I like the way Heart Math describes negative emotions. It says depleting because these types of emotions definitely deplete your energy. So I may change that out from time to time. Depleting emotions as opposed to negative. Just. So anger. The first feelings we will start with are the most depleting feelings of hate, malice, anger, rage, revenge, and violence. It is obvious that the underlying fantasy here is to eliminate, banish, kill, destroy, injure, hurt, frighten, and intimidate. The other person's likely response is to avoid us, to hate us in return, and to bring about a counterattack. Lesser forms of anger are criticism, criticalness, resentment, sulking, stewing, and negative judgments about others. The emotional purpose is to punish others, make them feel sorry, try to force them to change their feelings or behavior, make them suffer, get even with them, diminish and devalue them. This, of course, also results in the other person's response of counter criticism, counter resentment, and avoidance. Sounds like a bio for the orange guy, and that's funny. Everybody, we never know what people's healing path is. I know that's easier said than accepted sometimes. Good now to, I don't know what other platform you're on, but good now to you as well. To handle this area, we have to utilize the almost, utilize. We have to realize that almost everyone has these fantasies. Playing ostrich with them, thinking that they are wicked or that we are guilty, will not resolve them. We have to come up to the level of courage and look at our worst feelings, admit that they are part of the condition of being human, and remember that we are only held accountable for what we do with them. It is obvious that these negative feelings take an enormous emotional toll on our own inner selves. That reason alone is sufficient to warrant looking at them and letting go of them. Looking at the feelings on the level of interpersonal relationships, we now discover another law of consciousness. Our feelings and thoughts always have an effect on other persons and affect our relationships, whether these thoughts or feelings are verbalized, expressed, or not. We will not, at this point, go into the discussion of the mechanics of exactly how this comes about, but it is currently an area of research of modern advanced quantum physics, especially that area concerned with high energy subatomic particles and their relationships to thoughts and thought forms. We can likely intuit the truth of this law of consciousness from our own experience. We generally know, for example, when someone is angry towards us, even if they say nothing about it. Sensing their repressed angry feelings, we might ask, is there something wrong? Even when they reply, oh, nothing, we are still aware of the energy of anger and upset. It is somewhat dismaying to discover the truth of this interfacing at the energetic level, but anyone can discover it by inner investigation. The overall attitudes we hold about another person are influencing that other person's feelings and attitudes about us, whether we express them or not. Women in our society are more intuitive than men. They are generally more consciously aware that their thoughts and feelings are known by others. True psychics, of course, are merely people who are experts at intuition. When first discovering the truth of this, we might go through a sort of mild paranoia. Most everyone is brought up to believe that our thoughts and feelings are private affairs and nobody else's business, that all minds are separated, and that emotions happen only within the confines of our body. As we begin to investigate this area, we find that often the set of feelings we hold about another person is mirrored back at us by their attitude, and that when we change our inner attitude about them, their attitude changes abruptly. We are unconsciously influencing others all the time because of the feelings we hold about them. As we become more intuitive, we will laugh at our former naivete. And if we research further into the world of physics and parapsychology, we will discover that thoughts and feelings can be read by expert psychics even from the other side of the globe. One thing that comes to mind um, when he's talking about how our inner attitude about someone, uh, that's they will respond in that in kind, so to speak. It reminds me of a study that I always find so fascinating with teachers and students. I don't know if y'all are familiar, but there was a study where uh, students who would be considered special ed or slower at learning, where the teachers were told that they were brilliant, like genius students. The teachers treated them as such and they responded as such, and the vice versa also happened. Kids that were extremely smart, the teachers were told that these students were slow at learning and needed special attention, so the teachers inner experience or their thought of the students that way, and the students behaved that way. So it's just fascinating how that can happen until you become a super conscious person. You don't let that happen so much, but I think that's a very interesting study. um, the only way to get over this initial paranoia is to clean up our own act. Finding out what needs to be cleaned up is simple and easy. Just look at what you would not want others to know about you and begin to surrender it. Is that similar to mirroring neurons? Um, I'm thinking that is. I need to research that more, Jamie, because I don't want to make something up. I have thoughts about that, but I don't want to get anything confused. So let me do some research, and I'll share it in the group a little bit after I get a clearer answer. If you're okay with that, I feel like it's not exactly that, but it may have a role in it. Um, with observation, it is quite clear that these intensely negative feelings reverberate and boomerang back to us and profoundly affect our relationships. The other person merely mirrors back what we are projecting onto them. People who carry a lot of hatred find that they are living in a hateful world and lots of people hate them. They see external situations in the world as hateful. What they fail to see is that this entire situation is self created. We have the secret hope that our angry feelings towards others will punish and make them suffer. Actually, we are just providing them with justification to hate us back. We have to live with the fear that their retaliation of our own unconscious guilt. Ah, I didn't read that right. We have to live with the fear of their retaliation and our own unconscious guilt, which often results in physical sickness. It will be discovered that all of our anger and resentment are due to our perception, that is, to the way in which we are viewing a given situation. When the inner feelings are relinquished, the way in which we see the situation changes, and we are often surprised by the abruptness with which feelings of forgiveness suddenly arise and the relationship becomes transformed, even though on the external level we did or said nothing to express this inner change. I I have a kind of a personal example of that. Um, my dad wasn't around when we were growing up, and I like found him before I went to Korea in 2004, and I talked to him a couple times, but as I was doing more healing, because for one, I clearly suppressed anger. That's what became known to me as I was going through my healing journey, and so our later conversations, I felt like resentment and anger towards him, and the conversations felt very strained. Like even I could sense it in him, and I felt it in me, and then I did a lot of clearing work around that whole thing, and I was able to come to a place of acceptance and more understanding. And then our next conversation, it just flowed. It felt so open. He doesn't know that I did any of that, but I felt a huge difference. So that's what that reminds me of. I've been meaning to research them for a while, but haven't. This is your cue. We could look it up together and see what we come up with. Let's see. So that's what that reminds me of, just in my personal life. Good now, Sybil. Now, let's see. Can relationships change even after the death of the person? It can. It can, Verna. It's so it may, of course, may not be a physical one, but as like it's perception internally. So once you change your perception, you can have this, like if there's someone you don't particularly care for, you have resentment towards, after you work on you and you have a different perception and perspective, you can have profound love for that person. And just the fact that even when you do energy work and healing, And if it's ancestral, it affects people that are not even here. Um, I believe that it can. I have not studied that, but that's just my belief based on things that I've seen, encountered, read, and all of that. So I hope that was helpful. Okay, this happens with great frequency when our intention is to overcome our resentments. A Course in Miracles is based on that precise process of changing our view of a situation by the willingness to see it differently and to be forgiving. This is what was meant by Jesus Christ when he spoke of the miraculous power of forgiveness. Interestingly enough, there's a scientific basis for Jesus Christ's admonition to bless and love our enemies. On the level of energy, the lower feelings that the lower feelings have a lower vibration frequency and lower power. When we are in lower energy state, such as anger, hate, violence, guilt, jealousy, or any other depleting feelings, we are psychically vulnerable to the other person. In contrast, forgiveness, gratitude, and loving kindness have such a higher energy vibration and much greater power. When we shift out of the lower to a higher energy pattern, we create a protective shield on the energetic level, and it is as it were, and we can no longer be psychically vulnerable to that other person, which is what I was trying to say earlier when I was talking about the kids. Good now, Hamila. You can be influenced by someone until you've raised your vibration. You've been working on letting go of things my father said just before he died. Please keep doing that, Verna. It's for you, your health in general. Jamie says, with difficult relationships, it's been helpful for me to be thankful for their role in my journey. Easier said than done, but it can be done for sure. Good now, Laura. For sure, absolutely. It's you got your ego is what keeps you from being able to do that. Good now, Renuka. Hopefully I said your name correctly. Hamila says, I think so, Verna. When my stepfather died, I had a dream where he was in his new home and he let me yell at him and say whatever I didn't get to say. It was helpful. Oh, I love that, Jamila. That's cool. Good now, S. San Francisco. Okay. Where did I leave off? When we are in a state of anger, for instance, we are vulnerable to the energy depletion brought about by the other person's counter anger. Paradoxically, if we really want to affect other people, then we ought to really love them. Then their anger at us will boomerang back upon them with no effect upon us. This was the wisdom of the Buddha's statement in the Dharmapada. Hate is not conquered by hate. Hate is conquered by love. This is an eternal law. For sure. I believe people come in our lives to make us aware of something. It can be negative or positive. Yes. Poonam. Good now, April. Jamie, I'm finding that is the case. Awesome. I love it, love it. Jess says, trying to help my 7-year-old emotional. Oh, good. I hope some of this helps, but also feel free to emotional anger outbursts. Jess, are you like your actual 7-year-old, or are you talking about younger you internally? Rhonda says, letting emotions go and finding an inner calmness. Anger carries toxicity. Your daughter? Okay. A place I would start, of course, again, not a licensed professional, is because I don't know how y'all communicate. Sometimes it's like, where's the anger coming from? If you understand that, that is a place to start. Because what I have learned just in working with parents and of course with reading, I'm not a parent, so also consider that this is me coming from a human perspective as opposed to a parent perspective. Parents assume they know what is going on and they try to respond to what they assume is the issue instead of having the conversation with the child. But I will say I don't know how developmentally where 7-year-olds are, because I've never had to have a conversation with a 7-year-old. But that's what comes to mind. So any parent out here who has dealt with that, please feel free to share from your experience how you may have worked through that, navigated through that. I still appreciate your perspective, even not as a parent. Thank you. You're welcome. Finding the root of the anger is key. My 7-year-old son is also becoming emotional these days. Pay attention to what they're watching, listening to. Think about what they're experiencing in school as well. Um, and do what you can to raise their vibration. If you can teach them meditation, there are kid tracks on Insight Timer too. Um, that may help. I did briefly work with a 6-year-old boy, and I shared with his mom one of the meditation tracks. I don't think it was on here though, because that was before I knew IT had some children tracks. But if you can also work with them on that level, that would be helpful. Oh, I meant he's having positive as well as negative emotions. Got it. Yeah. Good now, Regina. So, those are things to consider. All the input, because input comes out. This is why I don't watch the news. Um, but yeah, something to consider if you haven't already, because I don't want to assume that you haven't. The next one is guilt. The next heavy area of negativity is guilt. Here, the underlying purpose is to placate, to assuage, to escape punishment by self punishment, and to elicit forgiveness. Good now, Rainbow. Rainbow says, as a foster mom, some great resources. The book you wish your parents had read, and also Dr. Becky at Feel Good Inside on social media and Attachment Nerd. Thank you, Rainbow. I'm going to grab this just in case Jess did not get to copy it. And if you need to, Jess, take a screenshot of it. I also I'm just pasting it here on my notepad. Because I can also add that to the Lettuce Fam doc. Hi, love. Good now, Tesh. Yeah, one of my favorite books I do on here on Insight Timer. I do have a book. I do have an IG as well. I'm Antara Mastery everywhere on all the medias. Another great book that gets quoted in a lot of books is Carol Dweck's. Dang it. Do y'all know the name of it? I have it. Carol Dweck's. If y'all know it, say it. I have that book. I know what it looks like. It was really good for me, even as an adult, mindset. It was good for me, even as an adult, because my sister has a hard time accepting compliments, I think. Yeah. And what I learned from here, just in general, is if you need to take a screenshot, is celebrate the effort it took for someone to do something, as opposed to the accomplishment that came as a result of that effort, because then it can create anxiety and striving, as opposed to you just celebrating just who they are and just for continuing to show up. So this is also a good book. You took a screenshot. Awesome. Letting go is what we're reading right now, but this book is a really good book as well. One of my favorite stories in here, which I so interesting, found that it was when it was a kid, like his first time in preschool, and he saw a broken toy. I think it was this book. He saw a broken toy in the classroom, and the teacher says, "It's okay, that happens." But he was like, "Who broke this toy?" Like, he got angry, or he was like upset about it, and she's like, "It's okay, it happens." And it was just the teacher reassuring him, because what the book was saying is that he was worried that if a toy got broken, he would get in trouble. And the way the teacher responded to his response to the broken toys was to assure him that it's okay, things happen. So it's those types of things too. And another story that's coming to mind is in the book. I think it was part of The Wild Edge of Sorrow. I'm not sure. But basically, the author was saying he was working on something. His kid came in, "Daddy, Daddy, I love you." And he was like, the dad was irritated because he interrupted him, and he kind of yelled at him a little bit. And then the kid he ran away crying. And the dad was like, he stopped what he was doing. He went and apologized and explained that it was not his fault. And he was like, if he had not done that, the kid could grow up thinking that he's unlovable, or being lovable would be is not a good thing. And so it's just understanding the interactions. Like as a kid, we don't understand. Like I didn't understand why my dad was gone. I didn't understand certain things that happened to me because our consciousness is not expanded to that point yet to understand. So if there's anything that you've seen with your baby, that just the language that's like another okay, sorry, not sorry. My mom, when we were growing up, the women's hair, who she's like, that lady has beautiful hair, that lady has beautiful hair. Everybody she said that about, none of their hair looked like mine. So I grew up hating my hair, even though she never said your hair is not pretty or your hair is ugly. She never said anything negative about my hair, but what she did compliment, I didn't look like. So in my little mind, I was not it was not pretty. I hated my hair. So just little things like that, that we don't even think about as adults, because it just we're like, yeah, it is what it is. So that's these are great resources. Writing series of books on asking. Ooh, I love that. Um, I mentioned especially the book great for everyone with or without kids. We're all kids, really. Super helpful and accessible way to understand a lot. Got it. Resources I mentioned. Awesome. In our daycare, we allow all emotions. We just allow them in a safe way. Beautiful. Nicole, speaking of hair, I was about to ask you again what product you use to get your hair like that. I will have to remind me at the end, and I will go upstairs and bring them down because I looked at them this morning because I really just did this, and I was thinking about you, and I forgot to get the name of it. Well, honestly, I don't do anything but because I'm like, I refuse to not have a wash and go. Um, Caitlin says, yeah, my sister was preemie and teeny, so everyone would comment on how small she was, and I internalized it as I was huge, even though I was petite and actually teenier than her. Bad dysmorphia. Yeah, I'm so tired of wearing my hair in a bun all the time. Understood, understood. Yeah. Thank you, Caitlin, for sharing that. It's it's things you don't even think about as an adult. It but so those are some things to consider, Jess. Also, just kind of pay attention to what people are saying around her, what she's taking in, and of course, if there of the cyberbullying stuff and all of that could be a possibility. I know you know that, but so thank you for the hearts, by the way. I appreciate it. Let me say good now to this puppy, Felicia. Good now, love. Did I get everyone? Gina, good now, love. Let's see. By 7, I was already what do you say? I didn't understand the word. What people said that did not resonate with me. I was not that person. That's that other. I'm always fascinated by that. Um, how some kids recrafting. Got it. How some kids just innately just let that stuff roll off their back, and other internalize. I internalize. But my sister was not so much. She didn't internalize things so much. And I'm just like, we came from the same parents. And it's so interesting to me how that happens. Um, but yeah, I was actually interacting. I'm in the brain health group because I brain health training, Dr. Amen. And one lady was talking about how her parents were alcoholics and she completely abstained from alcohol in general. And I was like, it's so interesting how some kids, because when there is alcoholism or addiction in a family, it means that it's highly likely that it can be passed on. And so I'm always amazed at how some are like, nope, and then others just follow that same pattern. It's just like, what creates that? It's so interesting to me. Each child in the family has a different parent. Got you. Thank you, IR. So true. I would go to my mother and ask her the meaning of to words. She'd say, go look it up. I somehow understood early that I was seeking time with her. I also knew that being brilliant would not be celebrated openly by her. I'd always hear from others that she'd speaking glowingly about me, my art, talent, and so called book smarts. You know what? That, YR, same. I never, I don't recall my mom complimenting us to our face, But if we go out somewhere, adults always say, "Your mom always speaks so highly of you." I'm like, really? I didn't. I don't. Okay. Well, thanks. um. So yeah. Okay. Let me take another sip of water, and I'll continue on. Um. Okay. Guilt. All right. This is not a conscious wish. Nevertheless, it is the unconscious purpose of guilt. With a little investigation, this can easily be verified. The next time we are feeling guilty about something particular regarding another person, watch what happens in the next encounter. Almost inevitably, they will bring up the very thing we are holding in mind. For instance, if we are feeling guilty because of lateness to an appointment, that guilt will frequently elicit a critical response from the other person. By the holding of guilt, we bring onto ourselves all the criticalness of others and their belittlement of us. Our low self esteem is channeled back to us through others in the form of their invalidation of our life. Um, Helen says, I did something this week that has left me confused. I looked at the treatment I have experienced at the hands of two groups of people and decided to let go. I chose myself over the horrid behavior, so I blocked them on my phone. I felt peace and relief, so good, but now all I feel is guilty. I did exactly what needed, yet still feel like I've been naughty, confused. Let's get through this and see if this brings up something for you, as it tends to do. And if it's still there, then we can dig deep into that. And I'm sorry you feel that way, and also congratulations. It happens. It's sometimes internally it's a fight because you're letting go basically of a version of you that you've known for this long, and so there can be some guilt, like you're abandoning yourself and or something. I don't know for a fact, but that could be part of it. And thank you for sharing. If we hold in mind that we are small and unworthy, we elicit those kinds of responses from others, whose remarks tend to indicate that we are small and unworthy. Yes, that will come up at first, then it becomes lighter, and the more you let them go and appreciate yourself. Thank you, Verna. If we think that we are only worthy of crust of bread, then that is what we will get. This is what the scriptures mean by the statement, the poor get poorer and the rich get richer. Poverty on any level, not just financial, comes from inner poverty, just as outer wealth comes from inner wealth. If we want others to stop being critical of us and attacking us, the answer is to begin letting go of guilt and all of the feelings that have brought it about. To help clarify the role of emotions in interpersonal relationships, a very quick way of learning to presume is to presume that the other person is conscious and aware of our inner thoughts and feelings. By doing this, we will not be far from wrong, for they are indeed intuitively aware of our thoughts and feelings, even if they are not consciously aware at a given moment. They will respond to us as if they know our inner feelings. The overall relationship will behave as though the other person were aware of our inner feelings. If we are still holding the fantasy that the other people do not know our thoughts and feelings, just notice that dogs quickly do. Do we really think that human psyche is inferior to that of a dog? If a dog can quickly read our total inner attitude, we can be sure that the intuition of people around us is picking up the same vibration. Let me see. Good now, Laura. Okay, making sure I didn't miss something. So, apathy and grief. The feeling of apathy, grief, depression, sorrow, self pity, the blues, hopelessness, and helplessness come from the inner program of I can't. Ha! My whole first 20 something years of my life. Their purpose is to elicit sympathy, to win back, to gain support, to make others sorry, and to summon help. I could tell y'all a story about this. I spent over half my life in this state, and it really repels people. Anyway. What the effect of these feelings on what is the effect of these feelings on another person? Although there may be an initial attempt to help, eventually this is replaced by pity and finally avoidance. Why avoidance? The avoidance is because of the huge energy demand that we are making on the other person. It is an attempt to drain them by throwing ourselves on their doorstep. Their results This results in the common saying, which sounds hard-hearted, but is unfortunately so true. When you laugh, the world laughs with you. When you cry alone. Constant grief will drive others away. They begin to resent it unless they are in very high place themselves and capable of effortless compassion. Chronic grief brings premature aging, a tiredness and weariness about the person, and it can only be overcome when we have the courage to allow it to come up under appropriate conditions and have the willingness to surrender to it and let it go. Fear. The feelings of fear, whether tension and anxiety, shyness, self consciousness, caution, holding back, or distrust, have the purpose of escape from the imagined threat and to put psychological distance from the feared situation or person. Paradoxically, as we have pointed out before, because the fear is powerful, the very process of holding it in mind can make that which is feared come into our life. It is like a self fulfilling prophecy. The energy of fear generates an inner focus on all the negative things that could happen, and that focus can coalesce the appearance of the very events that we fear the most. I've experienced that as well. Fear in relationships, therefore, is giving away our power to another person and enabling them to do the very thing that is feared. The way uh, the way out is to look at the worst possible scenario and look at the feelings they arouse and begin to relinquish them. Okay, I was like, at first I didn't think I read that right. Like other emotions, fear can be um, unraveled to its component parts, and the parts are then easily relinquished. For instance, let's say that there is a fear of critical attack. We ask ourselves, what is the worst possible scenario? With this question, we see that the basis of the fear is pride. When the pride is recognized and relinquished, the fear automatically dissolves. Again, in a relationship in which we are experiencing fear, if we unravel the fear, we may find that it is really a fear of discovery of our inner anger. The fear is that other people will retaliate against the anger. Again, when we relinquish the anger, the fear will automatically disappear. See, good now to whoever's on other platforms. uh, all on the tubular. Um, the insecure person is fearful and prone to jealousy, clinging, possessiveness, and attachment in relationships, an approach that always brings frustration. The purpose of these feelings is to bind and tightly possess the other, to achieve security by preventing loss, and, at times, to punish the other for our own fear of loss. Again, these attitudes tend to bring into manifestation the very thing that we are holding in mind. The other person, now feeling pressured by our energy of dependency and possessiveness, has an inner impulse to run for freedom, to withdraw, to detach, and do the very thing that we fear the most. These attitudes lead to constantly wanting to influence others. Because people intuitively pick up on our wish to control them, their response is to resist. So the only way to bring about relinquishment of their resisting us is to let go of wanting to influence them in the first place. This means letting go of the inner fears as they come up. Something came to mind as I was reading that, but I can't remember what. If it comes, it comes. Pride. Feelings of pride are often condoned in our society and take the form of perfectionism, neatness, punctuality, dependability, good personhood, excessive cleanliness, workaholism, excessive ambition, success, moral superiority, and politeness. When you decide to stand up for yourself, there can't be a reason for anyone to fear anyone. I love it, Poonam. Thank you. Yeah. Where did I leave off? Oh, in its exacerbated forms, we see arrogance, boastfulness, vanity, smugness, and prejudice. On the spiritual level, there is this righteous killing of non-believers. The underlying emotional purpose of these feelings toward others is to win their admiration, avoid criticism or rejection, gain acceptance, be important, and thereby overcome our own inner feelings of worthlessness. Unfortunately, the feelings that are aroused in the other person are often those of envy, competitiveness, or even hatred and easy exploitation. If we look at pride, we see that it's often a substitute for genuine self esteem. It is also of considerable interest to realize that the major relationship to which many people apply these phenomena is the relationship to God. There is a belief, unconscious, that we can elicit a certain response from God. God will feel sorry for me. God will retaliate against me. God will punish me. God will be pleased with me. God will favor me. When we have adequate self esteem, we are motivated by inner humility and gratitude, and therefore we have no need for the constant eliciting of strokes and pats from others or God. When we stop wanting to be liked, we find that we are. When we stop catering to others and trying to manipulate their approval, we find that they do respect us. Self denigration in the forms of placating, flattering, deference, self effacement, and passivity are all attempts to influence others by catering to their ego so as to get favorable treatment and get our own way. I know what came to mind. Sometimes when children are not, when they feel neglected, they result to manipulative behaviors just to be able to experience some type of attention from their parents. Oh, y'all are so sweet. Okay. False humility merely says to the other person, I am a small person. Please treat me that way. And of course, they promptly do. As is quite apparent, all of the above emotions are manipulative of the other person and destructive of real relationship. They all diminish our self-esteem, for they are all positions of vulnerability. Thus, although we may think that we feel well and secure at the level of pride, that pride is always accompanied by defensiveness due to its basic vulnerability. We puff up with pride whenever we feel insecure. The inflation of pride is easily susceptible to the puncture of a passing remark or raised eyebrow. Another thought that if that's how they grew up and were able to get attention, they tend to do the same as adults because that's what they learned gets attention. So that's what else came to mind, just from readings and things. The human condition. All of the negative feelings are essentially forms of fear, fear of loss, of esteem by others or ourselves, a fear of not surviving, and a loss of security. Because most of the negative feelings are accompanied by a negative value judgment, they are suppressed, repressed, or projected. Suppression, repression, and projection are all destructive dynamics and result in a progressive stress on and decline of our relationships. We like to pretend that our innermost feelings are unknown to others, but are they? We are all connected to each other on the psychic intuitive level, so our feelings are read and known by others. We may not be consciously aware of it, but their behavior towards us reveals that they know our inner attitude and feelings towards them. For example, let's say that our external behavior on the job is exemplary. Why is it, we ask, that the other person gets the promotion or the recognition and we do not? The answer is to look at our hidden inner feelings about the boss and the job. Do we really think that he hasn't registered our inner envy, criticalness, and resentment? It is a safe bet to assume that others know our inner feelings and the thoughts that go with those feelings. The kind of thoughts we are having about them is very likely matched with similar thoughts they are having about us. If we realize this principle, a lot of things that happen in our life will start to make sense. We can ask ourselves, how would I react if I were the other person and knew exactly what my personal feelings and thoughts really were? The answer that will usually make clear what the other person's behavior is all about. The answer to that will. Perhaps we didn't get the promotion because at the unspoken energetic level, our boss knew that we were critical of him, resentful of our colleagues, and clamoring for approval and recognition. Before searching ourselves for negative feelings, it is best to remember that these feelings are not our real inner self, which with a capital S. They are learned programs we have inherited from being humans. Nobody is exempt from them. Everyone from the highest to the lowest has or has had an ego. Even the few who are enlightened had an ego at one time before it was finally transcended. This is the human condition. To be able to observe our feelings honestly requires a non-judgmental attitude. We first have to be aware of what is really going on inside of us before we can do anything about it. As we let go of a feeling, it is replaced by a higher one. The only purpose for recognizing and admitting feelings is so that we can relinquish it. To be surrendered means that we are willing to relinquish a feeling by allowing ourselves to just to experience it and not to change it. Resistance is what keeps it there in the first place. We may think that some of the negative emotions are necessarily to us. However, upon examination, we will discover that this is an illusion. The higher emotions are far more powerful and effective in bringing about the fulfillment of our needs. Let's ask ourselves, for example, what would we be willing to do for someone we really truly love? We will instantly see that it is almost anything. There is almost no limit to which we will go for our love. Now contrast this with what we are willing to do for someone who has intimidated us. We will see that we grudgingly give as little as possible. While the intimidators may seem to get away with something temporarily on the surface, they really have lost the whole thing, haven't they? Their victory is superficial, temporary, and not even real. A victory in appearance only. In the end, the world turns, and the intimidators sow their own destruction. We will win by the negative. What will win by the negative emotion is short-lived, inauthentic. It doesn't really satisfy. It's like a food forced compliment. Real happiness results from a win-win situation. The price of win-lose situation is hatred and low self-esteem. Underneath it all, we fool neither ourselves nor others. Others always know when we are out to exploit them. If we have difficulty in relinquishing a feeling, it helps merely to look at the intent of that feeling. What is the purpose of it? What is the supposed purposeful effect of that other person on the other person? What is their likely response? Do we really want that? If this were the last day of our life, would that really be what we wanted? Well, this is the last day of our life, our old life, with all its conflicts, anxiety, and fear. That is the price we have paid for holding on to the old. As we relinquish the negative, suppressed feelings from all the programs we have internalized, they are automatically replaced by the higher ones. We become happier and lighter, and so do the people around us. Let's review what these higher feelings are and what effect they have on the other person's feelings and behavior in response to us. So, positive feelings. The higher feelings of courage, willingness, confidence, capability, can do, zest, humor, competence, self sufficiency, and creativity have an emotional purpose, effective actions, operation, and accomplishment. The reactions of other persons will reflect back to us cooperation, courage, respect, and a willingness to be with us. Additionally, because we increase their self esteem, they seek our company. As we look at all of this, we see that there is a wonderful payoff in return for our willingness to let go of the negative feelings that stand in the way of these higher feelings, which effortlessly accomplish our real goals and purpose. So funny. That's Maharishi says, accomplish more, do less. As you become more and more enlightened, that's what happens. You accomplish more and do less because the energy behind your feelings are a lot more powerful. So they take a lot less effort. Y'all hear my stomach talking? I'm so hungry. Okay. When we are operating on the level of acceptance, enjoyment, warmth, gentleness, softness, trustingness, inner truth, and faith, the emotional purposes to which the other person responds are those of love, enjoyment, pleasure, harmony, peacefulness, understanding, and sharing. Their reaction to us will be one of acceptance, satisfaction, feeling in tune, feeling understood, and joy. They will automatically return our love. It is rather obvious that these reciprocal feelings bring about success in whatever the venture may be with the other person, whether it is vocational, social, personal, or a simple everyday business interaction. Connectedness. When our inner feelings are of peacefulness, serenity, tranquility, stillness, openness, and simplicity, the effect on other persons is to increase their awareness along with our own and to give them a greater sense of freedom, perfection, unity, and at oneness with ourselves. In their relationship with us, they will feel joined. They will identify with us. They will understand at a deep level, and they will feel in common communion with us. As a consequence, they will seek our presence because in it they feel complete, recognized, and contented. They will experience an increased awareness of their own real self with a capital S. They will feel higher in our presence or when they think of us. Their response back to us will be that of love and gratitude for the blessing of our presence. In such a relationship, goals are automatically and effortlessly accomplished. Because we are not holding negativity, there is nothing we wish to hide from the other person, and this openness allows the other person to drop all defenses. Nothing is hidden out of guilt or fear, and there is a very conscious psychic connectedness. It is on this level that so-called telepathic phenomena occur with regularity. When we are words when we are in total harmony with another person, there is no desire on our part to withhold or guard any thoughts or feelings. Because the other person responds similarly, there is an effortless knowing of what is crossing the other person's mind and what their passing feeling states may be. There is a total acceptance of our own humanness and that of the other. If we are really in tune with others, we forgive them when we see a passing jealousy or reactivity. We realize it is only natural, and we know that they, in turn, are aware of our passing resentment. Yet, they are overlooking it. They accept our humanness, and they understand the situation. They know us as well that they know us so well that they recognize the likelihood of a passing resentment in certain situations, but they know also that we are going to let it go. The people with whom we share a relationship of loving acceptance are okay with our humanness and their own. No matter the surface emotions, we remain aware of the shared alignment to love, acceptance, and harmony with each other and the world. This level of communication actually can be reached with anyone. It doesn't have to be with someone with whom we are intimately associated. Very often, we experience it first with our friends with whom there is less at stake than intimate family members. Another situation where it often occurs in the course of an average life is with an ex-lover. With this person to whom we have revealed so much, now that there is no longer anything romantic at stake, a friendship might develop in which it is no longer necessary to hide anything. There can be truly open communication, honesty, and integrity. We see this not infrequently in couples that have separated or divorced. Once the turmoil has settled down, they get along easily and may even remain best of friends for many years. Effect of positive feelings. It is obvious that higher states of consciousness have a profound effect on our relationships because one of the laws of consciousness is like goes to like. Our inner states are actually radiated to others. We can positively affect others even when we are not physically with them. Feelings are energy, and all energy gives off a vibration. We are all like sending and receiving stations. The less negativity we are holding, the more aware we are, more aware we can be of what others are really holding about us. The more we love, the more we find ourselves surrounded by love. The replacement of negative feelings by a higher one accounts for many miracles one can experience in the course of life. These become more frequent as one continues to surrender. I can attest to that. When I hated myself, I didn't have a whole lot of people around me. And then when I started loving myself, I found y'all. Well, I started before I found y'all, but y'all are coming together because y'all are all in this high vibe with me. So I appreciate that. As we surrender, life becomes more and more effortless. There is a constant increase in happiness and pleasure, which requires less and less from the outer world to be experienced. There is a diminution of needs and expectations of others. We stop looking out there for what we now experience as coming from within ourselves. I just wrote a poem similar to that. We let go of the illusion that others are the source of our happiness. Instead of looking to get from others, we now look to give. Others now seek to be with us instead of avoiding us. In Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, Scrooge experienced the pleasure of giving instead of looking to get from others. The joy of that transformation is available to us all. Carl Jung wrote of the phenomenon called synchronicity, which might also have been called simultaneity. Here are these words in this book to explain the occurrence of events that, to the intellect, appear unrelated. As we surrender more and more, this type of experience becomes commonplace. An illustration of this phenomenon is the following experience related by a business executive who had been practicing the letting go technique for about a year. I was president of a small corporation with about 50 employees. We had built up a promising young man to head one of the divisions of the company. It turned out, however, that this man was very immature. Instead of responding with gratitude and cooperation for all that was done for him, he reacted by becoming grandiose, demanding, and somewhat paranoid. He declared that he was going to barge into the next board of directors meeting and cause a big upset with his wild accusations and demands. Although all of his accusations could have been easily refuted, the whole affair sounded like a dreadful experience to live through. For days, he appeared just plain hateful with his threats. The day of the board meeting, which was to be at 1 p.m., I was driving along the parkway thinking angry thoughts about him. Suddenly, I let it all go. I surrendered on him totally. I started to see the frightened child in him, and I started to send him love. All of my anxiety disappeared, and I felt sympathetic love for him. I looked at my watch, and it was 12:30 p.m. When I got to the office, my secretary said this man had walked into the office and stated that he was calling off the whole thing. He had changed his mind at the last minute. I asked her what time he had walked into the office. She said she made a particular note of the time as the board meeting was soon to take place. She looked at her watch when he had made this announcement about his change of heart. The time was exactly 12:32 p.m. Work smarter, not harder, for sure. Danny says, so late, but here to be here. what I can. I love it. Here to hear what I can. Awesome. Well, you know there's a replay, so never late, always on time, Danny. Absolutely. Yeah, there's no such thing. So, isn't that a cool story? Letting go of expectations. When we put pressure on other people in order to get what we want, they automatically resist because we are trying to pressure them. The harder we push, the harder they resist. Even though, out of fear, they may actually concede to our demands, there is not an inner acceptance, and later on, we will lose what we have gained. This resistance is in all of us. We can be aware of it as it operates unconsciously, and we can evade that awareness by making excuses and plausible explanations. As mentioned in an earlier chapter in this book, Winning Through Intimidation, Robert Ringer called it the boy-girl theory. Boy meets girl. As soon as she realizes he wants her, she becomes hard to get. So then if the boy decides to withdraw, she now wants him, and in return acts aloof. When we refer to this phenomenon to explain sales resistance, one way around it is to take the view that our responsibility is to make an effort, but not try to determine the result. Another way is to surrender the feelings we have about what we want from the other person and let go of the pressures we are putting on them in the form of expectations and desire. They then have the psychic space to become agreeable or even to initiate the desired result on their own, the result we had wished for in the first place. An example of this dynamic is a man who was working with the letting go technique in the midst of a divorce. He and his wife got into a heated argument over something he wanted. She just kept saying no to his request. So in the middle of it, he surrendered on the object that he wanted. It was now okay with him if she didn't give it to him, and it was okay if she did. The instant he let go of it in his mind, she suddenly turned to him and offered not only to give it to him, but to have it packed up and shipped as well. This illustrates a very simple but decidedly elegant and active way of clarifying relationships. First, look at how you are secretly feeling about a person in a given situation. Presume that the other person is aware of those thoughts and feelings. Then put yourself in their place and see how you would react. You will see that their behavior is probably just what you would have done in their place. The goal is to let go of all those feelings until you can go up to a positive thinking feeling space about the matter. Once in a positive space, now see how you would react to that person who is aware of these new feelings. The likelihood is that the behavior will change just as you would expect. There may be a time delay, but if you keep watching, the change will likely take place. Even if it doesn't, you will no longer be upset about the situation. Sometimes the quote payoff refuses to show up, but we can say, "This is one that the universe owed me in due time." In fact, it is a part of a greatness to know that sometimes a good deed is not returned. Yes, it is sometimes helpful to remember that. Because a good deed is not done, and it's not a good deed if you're doing it expecting something, right? So, or it could just not be returned in this lifetime. It could be returned in the soul's next lifetime. Because karma does not have a time limit. The influence that our thoughts and feelings have is the world's literature called the law of karma. And you get what you give, or you reap what you sow. Often we don't see this law in operation because of the time delay. For instance, an acquaintance borrowed $200 and then failed to pay it back as promised. For over a year, there was a resentment and consequent avoidance of the person because of the emotional discomfort, which was accompanied by guilt at holding the resentment in the first place. Finally, when it became apparent that the only person suffering from the resentment was the person holding it, and that it was costing peace of mind, the willingness to let it go emerged. At that point, the resentment was fairly easy to let go, and the borrower was forgiven. The $200 was recontextualized as a loan to someone who had been in need. Within a few months, there was an unexpected encounter with the person who said, out of the blue, "I have been concerned about the money I owe you. Here's the whole 200. The loan was repaid without even asking for it." Good now, Leon. Leon says good now, everyone. He's on a tubular. We block receiving what we want from others by our expectations or resentments of them. It is very effective to surrender our expectations of others before we enter into a particular situation with them. Emotions are really subtle attempts to force others and impose our will on them, which they unconsciously resist. The way to facilitate satisfaction in relationships is lovingly to picture the best possible outcome. Make sure it is mutually beneficial, a win-win situation. Let go of all the negative feelings and merely hold the picture in mind. We can tell if we are really surrendered when we feel okay either way. It's okay with us if it happens, it's okay with us if it doesn't. Therefore, to be surrendered does not mean to be passive. It is being active in a positive way. When we are surrendered, there is no longer the pressure of time. Frustration comes from wanting a thing now instead of letting it happen naturally in its own time. Patience is an automatic side effect of letting go, and we know how easy it is to get along with patient people. Notice that patient people usually get what they want in the end. One resistance to letting go is the illusion that if we let go of our wantingness and our expectations, we won't get what we want. We fear that we will lose it if we don't keep pressuring for it. The mind has the idea that the way to get a thing is to want it. Actually, if we examine the issue, we will see that events are due to decisions and choices are based on our intentions. Did I read that right? If we examine the issue, we will see that events are due to decisions and choices. Decisions and choices. Okay, the apostrophe helps. Let me reread that. Actually, if we examine the issue, we will see that events are due to decisions and choices are based on our intentions. What we get is the result of these choices, even when they are unconscious, rather than what we think we want. When we surrender the pressure of wanting this, we are clear to make wiser choices and decisions. That is so true. We think that our happiness depends on controlling events and that facts are what upset us. Actually, it is our feelings and thoughts about those facts that are the real cause of our upset. Facts in and of themselves are neutral things. The power we give them is due to our attitude or acceptance of acceptance or non acceptance, and our overall feeling state. If we get stuck in a feeling, it is because we secretly believe that it will accomplish something for us. Sexual relations. Because of the wide availability of sexual material and opportunities for varied sexual experiences, most people nowadays consider themselves rather sexually liberated. This liberation is primarily intellectual and behavioral. There still exists a great deal of emotional and experiential limitation, as well as sensory restriction. All experiences take place within consciousness itself. Therefore, sexual experience, like any other, is determined by our overall level of awareness and inner freedom. The degree to which our sexual experience has been restricted becomes apparent the more we relinquish our feelings about it. When we are totally surrendered on sexuality, it is like adding a third dimension to what was before a two-dimensional experience. As one woman put it, it's like I used to hear only violins, then a cello was added, and then a flute, and so on. So now the experience is totally full and comprehensive. Besides the increased emotional pleasure of freedom of expression, letting go brings a change in the sensory experience itself. To most people, men especially, sexual excitation and orgasmic pleasure are primarily a genital sensation. As one gets freer, the locale of the orgasm begins to expand and spread to the whole pelvis and abdomen, the legs and arms, and eventually the whole body. Often, after this accomplishment, there is a plateau that follows, and then suddenly and unexpectedly, the orgasmic locations expand beyond the body, as though the space around the body was having the orgasm instead of the person. Ultimately, there is no limitation of the orgasm. It seems to expand into infinity and be experienced from no particular center or locale. It is as if there is no individual person present. The orgasm is experiencing itself. This expression is facilitated by becoming aware of the facial grimacing and breath holding are restrictions due to fear of loss of control and attempts to limit the experience. If one breathes slowly and deeply, smiling instead of grimacing, the fear will become conscious and can be surrendered. Sexuality loses its compulsiveness. Freedom means not just freedom to indulge, but freedom not to have sex or orgasm. When we are surrendered, we are not only run by the desire to. When we are surrendered, we are not run by the desire for the orgasm. This unleashes creative experiences and awareness because the mind is not focused on the orgasm itself. To be free from domination of the desire for orgasm allows sexual experiences that have been described in spiritual literature as tantric sex. Most Westerners read a little about it and perhaps give it a try, but then they give up because they approach it in a way that leads to suppression rather than greater freedom. The more truly liberated we become, the more we are motivated by lovingness rather than the desire for gratification. This change of motivation from wanting and hunger to the mutual sharing of pleasure and happiness brings about major changes in the nature of sexual relationships. The intimacy with another person becomes more encompassing and pleasurable. There is a greater attunement to the other person's sexuality and intuitive fulfillment for each other's styles of satisfaction. One couple expressed it as follows: it is as though we just witness our own bodies, what our own bodies are doing. It is as though we are the space in which it is all happening. As soon as one person has a desire or fantasy, the other automatically and without even thinking moves into the acting out of fulfilling it. It is as though there is a psychic connection. There is an acknowledgement of the inner feelings about the fantasies and the letting go of how other person might react. There is greater variation in frequency with no sexuality also. It used to be mainly Friday and Saturday nights. Now making love may happen for days at a time, or sometimes weeks go without it. It is always new. It is never the same. Amazingly, it just keeps getting better and better. Each orgasm seems better than the last, yet often the lovemaking is so enjoyable that there is no bother to have an orgasm. If it happens, it's okay. If it's okay, and it's okay if it doesn't. The intimate time spent together is satisfying and freeing, regardless of any end result. Another man said, I never really realized before how much sex ran my relationships. It was really compulsive. I was always afraid I would miss out on a sexual opportunity. I didn't want to miss out on the opportunity for pleasure. Now my pattern is more variable. In fact, now I have no pattern. When it happens, and it's great when it does. When it doesn't, I don't even think about it. I used to have sex on my mind all the time. Women would usually say no, but now that I don't really care that much about it, they usually either suggest it or ask, or say yes if I ask. Now I find that I am more concerned about them instead of myself. Before, I was really just using them for my own selfish ends, and intuitively the women knew it. Now I feel a lot of love for them. I really care about their welfare and happiness, even if it's only a single encounter. What a relief not to have to lie anymore. From the above examples, it is clear that there is a change in consciousness from lack to abundance. When we are self centered and focused on getting emotional or physical pleasure from sex with another person, then we feel angry, frustrated, and deprived. The more loving we become, the more we receive what others are giving us, and we discover that we are surrounded by love and opportunities for loving involvement all of the time. This was the case for one woman who shared the following experience. I was always overweight and not very good looking. All all through my life, I rejected myself. I envied and hated sexually attractive women. I got to hate men too because they avoided me. I was full of self pity. I even tried psychotherapy, but I quit when it became apparent that the psychotherapist seemed more interested in his attractive young women patients than he was in me. I tried various self help methods and at least got over my self pity and depression. I was able to get a better job, but men still weren't interested in me, and I was unsuccessful in the sexual and relational arenas. Using the mechanisms of letting go, she went into the negative emotions that she had about herself and intimacy. She allowed the feelings to come up one by one, and she let them go. She let go of feelings like wanting attention and acceptance from others, fear of expressing herself, fear of being rejected, and even the fear of being deeply loved. There was the underlying feeling, I don't deserve love. Who could possibly love me? Within a week of surrendering these feelings, she had a date. She explained, I was so excited that I even lost my appetite. We had a great time, and then all of a sudden, I saw the secret. I was giving love instead of looking for it. My whole life changed now. Instead of feeling desperate to get attention and love, I know I have the power to give it. When I enter a room, I see all the lonely, love-starved men. They look just the way I used to. So I know what it is they are feeling and what to say to them and know how to express myself. I put myself in their place and watch their hearts melt. I used to scare them away because I was so angry. Get that? Hungry. I said angry. I was so hungry. Get that? Hungry. That was my problem. Now I feel full and I share that fullness in what I have learned. My social life has become so enjoyable that I don't have time to eat anymore. I have lost 35 pounds in a year. I never even dieted. I just lost interest. I guess it is because I am getting gratified in a way now that really means something to me. Maybe I am a little wild with the newness of it, but I'll settle down before long. There is one man I'm really interested in now. Sexuality, then, reflects our overall state of consciousness. As we let go of fear and limitations, that area of our life expands and becomes even more gratifying and yet not necessary for happiness. Freedom and creativity replace compulsiveness and limitation. Sex becomes another avenue of greater expression and increasing awareness. The pleasure of communion and nonverbal understanding replaces the former self centered driveness for relief from tension and the limited goal of sexual pleasure and ego inflation. The secret, as the woman above stated, is in the awareness that when we seek to give instead of get, all of our own needs are automatically fulfilled. As one person remarked, I have heard about many personal problems from my friends who practice the technique, but lack of lovers isn't one of them. That is chapter 18. Good now, Steve. Aw, welcome. No such thing as being late when you pop in. Always on time, and you can catch the replay if you would like. We just finished chapter 18 of the book, Letting Go. Any thoughts? I know that was a lot, right? Any thoughts, pushbacks, comments, concerns? Good now, Anne, Maria. Analia, good now. Good now, good now. Noreen, good now. Who else has popped in? Josette, good now. What y'all thinking with that chapter on relationships? Fascinating. Just put on audiobook. Thank you. Awesome. Timely. Good. You're welcome. You're welcome. Welcome. Anybody have any thoughts? V. Serena says she's passing her love on to you. She loves knowing that we're all here and still practicing and making the world a better place. Because I told you I'd reach out to Serena. But yes, any thoughts on the relationships? I will say that there are some things that I'm like, there might be some things I need to investigate within myself on certain relationships. Josette says, hello everyone in Nicole. I heard the last part of it's interesting. I got out of a hard and hurtful sexual based relationship with my baby's dad, and now I'm struggling with my relationship with food. I feel backwards to the person talking. Okay. Thank you, Josette, for being vulnerable and sharing with that. Congratulations for getting out of that relationship and recognizing, even if it's on an unconscious level, that you do not deserve that type of behavior and treatment. And if this just happened, you certainly can't expect yourself to just like change like overnight. I would invite you to give yourself some grace. And if this is the first time reading the book, I would suggest reading it because it talks about primarily, and we can also do some energy clearing here, but it primarily talks about allowing those feelings to be there without judging them and just let them process out. So as you're experiencing them, you just let them be. You don't try to change them. You don't try to squash them because they're energy, and that's the way that the energy can move out. It may mean crying. It may mean yelling. It may mean however you respond. There's no judgment. Don't judge yourself. Just give yourself grace and allow it to just. So yeah, what you describe, it sounds like, well, she was using food to, satisfy herself because there was nothing. And so you may kind of be walking towards that right now. What I usually do with clients when I was strictly health coaching is I would invite them to investigate what they are feeling that they're using the food to replace, and then see if there's another way you can experience that feeling. So sometimes it's like missing someone or just a connection with someone. So if you have a good friend in your life that you can reach out to just to talk shop, that sometimes can help remove the food as a tool for helping you feel better. Bree says, very deep, still feel like processing everything I learned today. Thank you. You're welcome, Bree. Yeah, it's a lot. This was a pretty big chapter. Good, Leon. Leon says that I thought about you, Leon, as I was reading part of this actually. Leon says that really gave me understanding beyond comprehension. Good. Good now, Calvin. Oh, missing Serena. Glad she's okay. Thanks, Nicole. You're welcome, V. Janice says, really want to try this. First time here. Spent the last few days wanting my adult son to love me. Ooh, Janice, you're going to have to let us know. He loves me. Shows it by spending money in different ways for me. He avoids talking to me, which is what I want. Janice, I think you can do it. I think you got this. As you're thinking about that, what is it that you're needing to let go? If you want to share here, you don't have to, of course. But what is it that you're feeling that that you feel like, oh, so if you do that situation, like the thoughts that you're having in your mind, I love the way he did that. The thoughts that you're having in your mind, if you put yourselves in their shoes, is he responding the way you would probably respond if someone was thinking like that for you? I feel like that is such a helpful way to kind of get out of your own head and like really understand how you're impacting someone else. Um, let's see. Amanda says, letting go of my expectations of others, leading to receiving what I'm seeking. That concept resonated with me a lot. I'm so glad, Amanda. And it really does work. Sometimes it's easy to forget, especially if you have a habit of not doing that. But I've seen it in my life, and I also have seen the other. Like, dang it. So catching yourself, celebrate awareness. I always talk about celebrating awareness, because you can't shift until you're aware of something that needs to be shifted, or that there is a potential to shift. That was my initial experience with all of this healing and growth. Is like, oh wait, I don't have to feel this way. This isn't just how life is. Oh, be sitting my wonderful brother Calvin. I found myself sometimes using food as avoiding expressing my emotions over a situation due to a lifelong conditioning of suppressing emotions. I appreciate that you said sometimes. Found. I like the found, the past tense. So I'm celebrating you, Stephanie. What do you do now when you recognize that you have emotions coming up? Josette says, thank you. It is the first time, and it sounds like something I definitely need to read. I'm trying not to date, so I think I always leaned on romance. I'm about to go to an all-women's retreat and hoping to deepen some friendships I have. Thanks for the insight. You're so welcome. Yay, you. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I remember a young lady. I was at an event, and a young lady came to me. She was like, she had just broke up with her a guy, and she was like ready to date again. I was like, honey, you're not ready yet. You're just going to attract the same energy that you just let go, because you haven't pulled yourself out of that energy yet. So I would consider waiting until you did some inner work, so that you will actually attract what you're wanting to attract. Thank you, Verna, for loving on the new folks. But yay, Josette. Janice, Josette, if y'all would love, I would love, we're here tomorrow, but I know, feel free to check in. I do have a group here on IT. So if you would like to share and let us celebrate with you the results of the work you're doing, I would love to hear it. Helen says, the reasons I let go and block them on my phone is because when I ask them how they are, they say they are fine and are too busy. They say they still typing, I imagine. Stephanie says, ask myself, what am I feeling? Where in my body? What do I truly need? And journal, rest, walk, bath, etc. I love that, Stephanie. Thank you for sharing. Helen says, they say they appreciate my support, but they don't need me. They have their own friends. Wow, that's very hurtful, Helen. It sounds like next step would be the actual letting go of whatever feelings you're experiencing around that whole situation, Helen. It is hurtful. It also, the good thing to think about is like, what energy might be being put out for them to respond that way. But also, like, thank you for being honest with me, I guess. That saves me on this extra effort that I'm trying to put in to be a friend. But that is very hurtful. I'm sorry you experienced that. Jana says, I would probably respond the way my son is, having a hard time getting a clear sense of things. Seem to hit a wall. Are you saying you seem to hit a wall, having a hard time getting a clear sense of things? And also, now that you confirmed that you would probably respond the way he is responding, what would shift that response? Like, what could you do differently that would elicit the response you would actually want to experience? V was saying, I was just thinking, how is Helen doing? What's up, Helen? Oh. Laura says, you got it down, Stephanie. Good for you. Thanks for sharing. Thank you, Laura, for loving on Stephanie. Helen says, this has escalated recently, and they looked up whether they can get me deported, and we're disappointed that they can't. Wow, Helen. Yeah, leave them alone. Keep working on you. I got nothing. That is very. It's not nice. It's unfortunate, and it just. I always say if someone's really mean, it's because there's something. They're meaner, more mean to themselves. Because the only way it can spill out is if it's overflowing within. Um, it's okay. Karma will take care of it. It may not. We may not see it in this lifetime, but karma will take care of it. You just keep doing you and elevating yourself. Stay focused on your path. Housebound, sick, and alone, and they told me they will only engage with me if I give up being neurodivergent. Okay, got it. They are. They don't believe in mental illness or neurodivergence, and they're judging. And stop being ill. That's yeah, Helen. You don't need them. You don't need them. They're not going to help you heal. Like that energy just makes it harder for you to do any healing that can be done if there is. Or yeah, I'm sorry you're dealing with that. It's not fun. I know, right, V? Sounds like time to let go for real. Yes, yeah. You're literally an anchor to your well-being. And by anchor, I mean like bringing you down, pulling you down, holding you down. Yeah. There is no one else. No one else speaks to me. Only on one phone call in 18 last months. It's okay, Helen. Right now, in the state that you're in, before you elevate, you don't want anyone speaking to you unless you can, unless, like he said, someone who is already in a higher vibration and has the ability to express compassion. No one else you need. You just keep working on you. And I know it's not easy. I know it's lonely, but keep going. Yeah. And that's basically what he says, that that begging and that needing for people to talk to you is really like a stronghold. It's like strangling, talk to me, on an energetic level. So getting to a place where it's okay if people talk to me, or if it's okay if they do or don't, is when people start to come around. Sending love and hugs to you, Helen. You deserve better, says V. Absolutely. What could I do differently? Be my happy, loving self and not worry about why my son won't talk to me. I like it, Janice. You know what? What could come from that is when you get to that place, when you can fully get to that place, he may feel safe enough to express why he didn't want to talk to you. And at that point, it will be in your responsibility to receive that, as painful as it might be, receive that in your happy, loving self. Understand where he may be coming from, or even if you don't understand, just understand that that is how he's perceiving things and feeling, and just continue with compassion. I'm sorry to be telling you all this. I'm ashamed. Helen, don't be ashamed, baby girl. Don't be ashamed. Like, for one, nobody's taught any of these types of things growing. Let me not say nobody. There are some parents who are very conscious and they do teach their kids this, but the majority of us are figuring this out as we're stumbling through life. So there's nothing to be ashamed of at all. There's nothing to be ashamed of. You live, you learn, you grow. Keep growing. Keep going. What did I write? I wrote something recently. Basically, it starts within. Oh, let me see. Oh, I guess I don't have acupuncture today. I was looking for something I wrote recently. That's kind of made me think of what you said, Helen. I've been like stuff has just been downloading, so I got like paragraphs and paragraphs of stuff. Well, one that comes up, no choice is wrong. Allow that knowing Strengthen your courage to keep moving. Yes, rest from time to time, but rest forward. But that's not the one I was looking for. Well, the end of something I wrote is listen within. That's where you begin. But, mm, um, okay, hold on. Let me catch up on chat. Give up being neurodivergent. I've decided being neural normal is. I know, Jamila. What'd you say? I lost it. Where did Jamila go? Neural normal is boring as heck. Yes. Sarah says, "If hi Helen, go into your body and walk or exercise if it will help." Helen hugs. No shame, hun. You are not alone. No reason to be ashamed. This is a journey for sure. YR says the reading today in the comments call me to ask the following. Has anyone noticed that your high frequency somehow triggers, yes, others to act out negatively, or even after decades of knowing someone, you suddenly see or experience monstrous behavior by that person to the point of being gobsmacked by what you see, hear, or experience? Yes, YR, that does happen. Because remember earlier in the chapter, he says when you raise your vibration, the negativity that they throw at you bounces back on them. So they're just experiencing themselves, which freaking it's not helpful. Before you were probably absorbing some of it, so you didn't even like it. It was matching, but now you're like, I don't even like what in the world. So it's bouncing back on them. And it makes some it challenges people, it intimidates people, because they're seeing that you're feeling better, you're doing better, and you're no longer in misery with them. And of course, I'm using generalized terms because I don't know the whole situation, but some people don't know how to celebrate that and come to the thought like, "Ooh, if you can do that, I can do that too." They're like, "You're leaving me, you're different, you're changed, what's wrong with you?" And they're it's them thinking about them. It's them using you for something as opposed to being in a place to be able to give and love and celebrate and have win-win. So that was my takeaway from that, and from after rereading this chapter. Um, let's see what Jamila says. Let me see. Helen, will you remember the chapter? I might read this again. I'll find it. I'm gonna just read this again. Take it for what it's worth, but let me catch up on the chat first. But take it for what it's worth, and see if there's any piece of it that could be applied to you. And you don't have to say anything out loud. Just internalize and think through, feel through, after I read it. And this is actually for anybody who may be experiencing something similar. But let me see. Laura says, I fill my bucket by going out with my dog with either a walk or listen to live music, and people will chat as we go about ourselves. I don't get many calls at all either. I'll call friends to chat, but not reciprocate it. People are busy. Sometimes it's not personal. With Helen's case, I got nothing. Those people are just not very nice. But I will say this: my friends know that they're always on my mind, and I don't always call. I'm actually horrible at calling people, but I'm always thinking about you. I will text every now and then, but that's the extent of it. I love them. If they called me at any moment and they need something, I'm there. But me calling you is not a thing for me. I love you. Just from a perspective of someone who does not call people very often, to include my own mama, who lives 2 miles from me. Like, hi ma, how you doing? I love you. And then that's yeah. But call me if I'm available to go somewhere and you want to go somewhere. I'm there. But yeah. Jamila says, why are always say folks act weird, and I have to remember who I am. It either draws in people or makes them upset because they haven't achieved it as well. Yeah. Helen says, thank you for your support. You're welcome, Mama. I have been weird since easily 3 years old. And wonderful, I bet. Good now, Tatiana. Just now, but no worries, hon. I was like, I haven't been called J Mills in a minute. How'd you know? Oh my goodness. That is so cool. I love how autocorrect did that. We determine it's not called autocorrect though, because it doesn't ever correct stuff right. Laura says, sorry, Helen, sending hugs. Loving, healing, and peace to you, Helen. V says, thanks for Helen. Sharing is caring and helping all of us, especially remembering how to treat each other with love and respect. Absolutely. YR says, I can dig it, Nicole. I have seen that my curiosity, openness, default for collaboration can be a strong contrast to how some move. Absolutely. It can be scary for them. It's like, why are you so open? Why do you want to work with me? What are you really trying to get out of me? And that's unfortunate because that's the lens through which they are seeing things. Granted, you still got to be aware and discerning, because some people will, they have their masks is perfected. But yeah, it can be like, I don't know about that. Jamie says, illness can be very lonely and isolating. Turning inward in a positive way can help. We can create our own magical world inside of us. It takes time and we have to get through the muck first. But it is a rainbow after the rain if we stay on course. Jamie can fully speak to that. And thank you, Jamie, for sharing that. Helen says, I've been trying to understand what I'm supposed to learn in this situation. Every single person within 200 miles of me is gone. I'm sorry if it feels like the universe is being too hard. I don't feel strong enough for this lesson. I feel crushed. If it wasn't for IT, I would have no one. So grateful to you all. Why don't we just take a moment to hug? You didn't go wrong, Helen, dear. Let's take a moment for anyone who's open, and for Helen who's willing, if you're willing to receive, just send loving energy to Helen. Like extra light. And V says, remembering my dad who always said, call me if you need me. Yes. You too, Verna. Yeah. True, they're busy. Autofill. It's not usually correcting. Thank you. Yes. I have even seen folks be mean at how I marveled at seeing dragonflies in the yard, folks. That is funny. Exactly, Jamila. Helen, you didn't do anything wrong. Thank you all for loving on Helen. Send an extra love and light. I want to invite this energy to Helen is to not see you as the illness that you're experiencing. Not an easy place to be, but continue working towards being able to do that. Your mind is so powerful. I gotta find this. Okay. This story, and you are strong enough for this lesson. That's why you're still here. This story may be hard to hear. I'm going to invite or ask you to receive the lesson of love. So we'll keep sending you love. I also want to invite you to send yourself love. But this one was the healing effect of love. And this is about, like, fear is so pandemic in our society that it constitutes the predominant ruling emotion of our world as we know it. Fear was also the predominant emotion among thousands of patients treated during the decades of clinical practice. By the way, for anyone who's not familiar, the author he's a psychotherapist. He's no longer with us. Fear is associated with our survival, and so it's given a special accord in our minds. So for the first thing is, Helen, and you don't have to share it here, but consider what it is that you're really fearing. So here, this story. It says fear tends to escalate. Thus, the typical patient with phobias shows a progressive extension of the fear into more and more avenues of life, leading to further and further restrictions of activity and, in severe cases, total immobilization. This is the case of a patient named Betty. Betty was 34 years old, but she looked much older because she was thin and drawn. She entered the office carrying armloads of paper bags, which were later found to contain 56 different bottles of health store preparations, vitamins, nutritional supplements, plus several bags of special food. Her fear had started as a germ phobia, and soon everything around her seemed to be possibly contaminated with germs. She had many health fears of contracting contagious diseases, which had progressed now into a fear of cancer. She believed every scare story she read, so she was afraid of nearly every food, the air she breathed, and getting sunshine on her skin. She wore white clothing because she was afraid of dyes in the materials. And I'm not saying this is you, Helen. There's an underlying message behind all of this. In the office, she would never sit down because she was afraid that the chair might be contaminated. Whenever she needed a prescription, she asked that it be written from the middle of the prescription pad, which had not been touched. Furthermore, she wanted to tear the page from the pad herself. She didn't want me to touch it because it possibly I had gotten germs from shaking the hands of the last patient. She wore white gloves at all times. She requested to be treated by telephone as she was too afraid to of making the trip to the office again. The following week on the telephone, she had said that she was afraid to get up. She would call from home while still in bed because now she was afraid to go out on the streets. She had developed a fear of muggers, rapists, and air pollution. At the same time, she was afraid to stay home in bed for fear that she might get worse, and to compound all of her other fears, she was afraid that she was losing her mind. She was afraid that medication wouldn't help her and that it might have side effects, but she was afraid not to take it for fear that she wouldn't get better. Now she said that she had a fear that she might choke on the pills and had stopped taking even her health pills, much less the prescribed medication. Her fears were so paralyzing that every therapeutic maneuver was totally stymied. She wouldn't allow me to talk to her family. She was afraid they would find out that she was seeing a psychotherapist and think she was totally crazy. I was baffled and racked my brain for weeks on how I could possibly help her. Finally, I let go. I experienced a relief of surrender in that I just totally gave up. There is absolutely nothing I can do to help her. The only thing left I could do was to love her. And so that's what I did. I just thought of her lovingly and frequently. I sent her loving thoughts. I gave her as much love as I could possibly give when we talked on the phone. And finally, after a couple of months of loving therapy, she got sufficiently better to come to the office. As time went on, she improved and her fears and inhibitions began to diminish, though she never did develop any insight. She was too afraid of talking about psychological matters, she said, and so, over the months and eventually years of treatment, the only thing I ever did was to love her. This case illustrates a concept that we previously presented in the chapter on apathy. That is, a higher vibration, such as love, has a healing effect on lower vibration, such as in the patient's case, fear. This love is the mechanism of reassurance, and very often we can quiet another person's fears by our mere physical presence and by the loving energy that we project to them, with which we surround them. It is not what we say, but the fact of our presence that has the healing effect. So, neurodivergence is not anything to heal, but I think healing your psyche is where the most work could be done, benefit you. So, every now and then I'm sending you love. I just want to invite you to also send yourself love, and then all of that other stuff will start to resolve itself. Um, Let me see. Thank you all for sending Helen some extra love energy. You've seen a dragonfly float about. That's magic. My sister doesn't get why I like butterflies because they're bugs. I love all of those things, y'all. I get so excited when I see a dragonfly. YR says you are covered, elevating, and expanding, Helen. Thanks. I say hello to all the things. I talk to my trees. I told my tree out front, his name is Pete. I asked him one day, and that's the name that came to my mind. I don't know any Petes. So, and then my other tree that was planted by either my dog who's no longer here, or a bunny or something. Her name is Sentry. So there's that. Why are yes the bunnies that greet me when I leave work? There's so much caring and loving energy here. Y'all are awesome. You too, Hamila. Gotta go, says Lonnie. Thank you, Nicole. Sending love to everyone. Hope you all have a beautiful day. You too, Lonnie. Thank you. If you cannot go out, consider letting in. Open the windows, doors to let the air, light, and love in. A case for letting in. I love that V, let in. Breathe in love, breathe out love. You are love. Jamila, in my last neighborhood in Ohio, every time I went out for walks, there were bunny people out, and I always said hello, bunny person. Aww. All right, Helen. I don't know if Helen is still here. Oh, there you are. I see the bubble. Keep loving on yourself. Keep loving on yourself. I love the bunny people. Okay, there you are, babe. Keep loving on you. I know it looks dark right now. I know it looks like nothing is going to change or shift. Just keep giving yourself love. Keep staying in a place of knowing that this is not all that there is. Good now, Bea. Good now, May. I'm really sorry. Ooh, hon. Helen, do you have a cat to love you? Helen, you don't need to. This is why we are here. Is that not one of the first things I say in the beginning when we get started? If this is too much, either step away from the live or say it in the chat so that we can all love on you. Thank you for saying it in the chat so that we can all love on you. That is literally why we're here. That's why we're going through this book. That's why you continue to show up to each live. Your download just hasn't come yet. Usually Helen gets like this major epiphany in every live that she's been in with me, at least. I haven't been in other lives with her, with other teachers, but it just hasn't come today because she's extra low right now. But Helen, I want to invite you to shift the way you express yourself, such as I'm lost without him. I would surmise to say you're not, but you can absolutely say I love that he's around. He adds to my life, because your life in and of itself is enough. I'm glad you're in tears, hugging you tightly. The cat is a compliment to you, Helen. Absolutely. Animals didn't remember earlier. He was like, dogs will read your energy. Animals will read your energy. Cats will read your energy. So clearly, you're a good person. Your cat hanging out with you, man, please. Let that be a reminder. Anytime a human is humaning in a mean way, let the fact that your cat loves you remind you that you are a good, beautiful soul. Animals don't fool with, right? They don't. We love you unconditionally, Helen, says Robin. Thank you, Robin. We have all risen in frequency today by loving on you, my dear. I love that, YR. Absolutely. Thank you. Verna says, Helen, we love you and we are here for you. Absolutely. Thank you, Laura, for reminding her about the cat. I was told because of his breed, he would only live 8 years. He is 50. See? You see what I'm saying? Thank God for my dog, says Laura. Yeah. He says, yep, it's what Robin said. YR says, I trust tiny and new people and animals. No filters, baby. For sure. I love that. For sure. Thank you, Helen. Thank you for being here. Thank you for continuing to show up. And thank you all for helping each other. So grateful to you all. And we are for you. Anything else? From anyone? Like, if I know sometimes someone will share something in the chat and they're like, I don't know if I should share this. Just share it. We understand that there are a plethora of experiences and emotions going on at this time. Like this brings up a lot. So, whatever you're feeling, whether it's elation or not so happiness, please, if you need support or you want to be celebrated or have someone celebrate with you, because maybe someone in your life won't celebrate with you, please allow us to. That is why at least that's why I show up, so I can support and celebrate. YR says, also, if you have never spent time with the sage, V, get yourself a moment or two. I love it. Yeah, yes. Angel says, some people don't possess the emotional bandwidth to love us the way we need and deserve to be loved. It is true, which is why it's so important for you to be that person of yourself, so that anybody else's love is the cherry on top. It's not the need. It needs to start within. You have to feel your own self first through whatever means of spiritual practice, meditation, whatever. I will say I advocate for TM, of course, but that sense of self needs to be developed within you. Otherwise, you will never have this feeling of satisfaction and fullness and fulfillment, because you'll always be looking to someone who has their own desires and their own needs and their own expectations, and that's not fair to either of you. Not an easy lesson to learn. Not anything that was even taught growing up, at least not in my neck of the woods. Right on, Robin. You obviously are taking good care of your cat. For sure. I wish I could help all of you. Hun, remember, Helen, help goes, good now, Rhonda. Help goes, anytime we get to pour into people, or if someone brings a challenge to us, that helps us understand ourselves even more. We get deeper into what we believe. We get to question our own beliefs when someone does that. So you are helping. It may not feel like you're helping, but you're definitely helping. You're allowing us to dig in and pour out. So that's a big help. At least for me it is. Let's see. A small suggestion for Helen. When I was feeling low, I found a picture of myself from a happy time, and I saved on my screen with a note, remember who you are and show up for her every day. Helen, you are helping just by sharing. Absolutely. V says, thank you for letting us love on you. Please receive it. You deserve it so much, today and always. Thank you, V. We must remember that the love we require is bespoke and not like a big box retail store. We don't want or need love from everyone. You might be allergic to their brand of love and care. Be discerning. I love that. You know, I say allergic stuff all the time. Like I'm allergic to that. Nope, I'm good. Unsubscribe, delete. Robin says, one moment at a time, Helen. You are phenomenal. Absolutely. Good now, Dolly. V says, my last message was for Helen and anyone who is hurting. Absolutely. I felt that, V. Do I need a sage, says Laura. All of us are sages, you know. Tatiana says, I believe love and gratitude are married. Be grateful with all for every little thing in your life, a new day, every new breath, your devoted, loving cat, sunlight in your window, safe roof over your head. Helen, you are much stronger than you know. Love is all you need. Good now, Champa. Helen says, I know I shouldn't say this, but I just wish somebody in my community would simply say, hello, are you okay? Just that. Helen, once you release the need for that, the wish for that, once you get to a place where I'm okay if it happens or doesn't, that's when they'll come. I've experienced it personally. People unconsciously run from that. Can you please, that like the subconscious energy that is saying, please help me. I am not able. I'm like, I need you. Once you release that, people start to show up. I spent over half my life in that place. Varen says, everyone needs a sage. Yes, we all need sages. We can all be an oracle. What does it do, please? I love it, V. V says, hello, Are you okay, Helen? We are your new friends. I know we're not all the way in Australia. Wait, I forgot where you are. Are you in Australia? Remind me where you are, Helen. But we are a community. Helen, now you have made the abundant ask, you will have all you desire. As long as you let go of what the results have to look like. Yes. Sage is good for clearing or be used in cooking. I wasn't sure if you were talking about sage as in person, like wisdom, or smudge sage. Janice says, thank you so much for this community in today's session. Hope to join you tomorrow. Hope you do too, Janice. I hope this was informative, supporting, enlightening, confirming, all the things. Thank you for being here. Helen's internal self is unconsciously resisting the love and support, but she'll stop fighting it. It just may not happen in this particular call, but she'll probably post in a group a little bit later, like, y'all, that love wave finally hit me. Thank you. I feel good. I don't care if people call me or not. I'm so good. Thank you, V. I'm okay. I'm taking one breath at a time. I didn't know either, so just went with it about the sage. YR says, in the capitalist mainframe, we are groomed and domesticated to not ask. We are told to be a team player, but rewarded as a solo player. Divest in it all. Make your ask. Give where you can give. Lead with love in all things. Drink water and mind your business. Absolutely. Hi, Laura. I do. I have all the things. If you go to my, thank you for asking, by the way. If you go to the link in my profile, if you go to the About tab and click on my, the music is going to stop because I got to remember what it looks like. When I turn on my Insight Timer app, I automatically have music stop. Okay. Go to my link. I think it's on my link tree. Or if you scroll all the way to the bottom of the link, you'll see the other different platforms as well. I think I have it on both. So thank you for asking, though. I don't have Spotify. Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. No, I have YouTube Music. I opted not to subscribe to Spotify because I'm like, I use YouTube for other things like research and all that stuff, and so I'm like, I don't want to have two subscriptions that can do the same thing. Persevere, people, peaceful pals. Thanks all, and especially Nicole. Thank you, Robin. Thank you. You always showing up and pouring in and bringing light. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Any other thoughts, comments, questions, concerns? Oh, no worries, baby. Yeah, if you click on the link in the About and scroll all the way down, you'll see those options. And you can also message me and we can walk through that as well. No worries. Make it easy. No, they don't make it too easy. Yeah, just message me. We'll work through it. All right, my love. I'm sending extra big love to your souls. Is it? It is. Well, it's 11:30. I like your clock better. Mine says 11:13. New beginnings. If there's nothing else, I will see you, if you choose, see you tomorrow as we read chapter 19, which is something. Scrolling down. I'm so burpy. Achievement and vocational goals is chapter 19. All right. I know, isn't that cool? You know me. If I want to reach as many people as I can, help create inner mastery, inner peace, because the more we get that, the more that can ripple out into the world. We can raise the collective consciousness, elevate it, which in turn creates a healthier government, a healthier environment, all the things. If you don't know about the Maharishi effect, look it up. Helen says, friends, I am truly grateful to you all. Thank you for all your giving. I am receiving it. You're so welcome. Remember to love on yourself. Yep. Y'all. Yes, yes, yes. So, I always close out by celebrating you for doing this work. It's not easy. It's not fun. It's painful coming up as you're processing it. But on the other side, there's this sense of peace that is inexplicable. It has no words. And just because you worked on something before doesn't mean there's not another layer of it. So if it comes up again, there's no judgment. They're like, well, thank you for letting me know, body, that you're ready to heal this part too. Celebrate that. Celebrate you all for showing up for you. Because in so doing, you are showing up for the world, and I could ask for nothing more. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Like, I'm hugging all of y'all right now. All right. Until later, I'm going to get back on my research paper since I do not have acupuncture. You're the best, Nicole. Thank you for everything. You too, Miss V. Thank you as well. All of y'all wise souls here. Even if you feel like you don't have any wisdom to share, you do. So please get it out. Share it. We're grateful for it. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you around. Thank you, Nicole. You're welcome, Dolly. Thank you for the hug, Jamie and Dolly. All right, loves. I will see you around the app, either in another teacher's lives or my own. Jai Guru Dev. May you all create the most amazing now moments. Until I see you next time, make every moment count, because that's all we have right here is this now moment. Ciao for now. And thank you to whomever joined. I know Leon was here and other two people. I'm not sure who you are, but thank you so much for being here and tuning in. Let me bring you over here so I can actually look at you. And I will see you around. Ciao for now.